Hello, this is Sarita and I'm speaking to you today from Soulhenge, and I'm here to help you understand the truth about who you are. Now today I wanted to have a chat with you about spiritual bypassing and integrating your emotions. And I haven't actually made a vocal face-to-face video for a couple of weeks now, because I myself have been integrating a lot of very difficult emotions and helping other people to do the same in my classes. So it's been very full on for me, but I'm aware that many of you have written to me and asked me how to deal with and integrate the emotions that you're experiencing during this lockdown. And I'm now ready to share how I think we can help ourselves and why we need to help ourselves. So in order to understand this, we really need to look at spiritual bypassing, because what's going on in the world right now is incredibly difficult. There are lots of control measures and quite scary things being revealed to us about the way the world has been being run and the potential of how it may be run in the future. So in a funny way, the veil between what we perceived our reality to be and what the actual reality is lifting. Lots of people are waking up to what's actually going on in the fake control matrix that we have been living in. And it's scary stuff. It's quite frightening to wake up to the fact that what you thought your reality was, that people like your governments or the medical professional, pharmaceutical companies, the people who are supposed to look after us, actually have hidden agendas that are rooted in profit and control. And I don't want to go into too much detail here, because it's not for me really to wake you up. It's for you to go and do your own research and find out what's really going on. And I've been awake to what's been going on for quite a lot of time, but what's been happening in the last 6 weeks is my level of awakening has expanded exponentially. So the things that I knew were going on, that I had a viewpoint over, have been revealed to me as surface layers of deeper forces that have been at play and at work. And as my awakening has proceeded over the last 6 weeks, as it's been speeded up, as has been the case for many of you, it's been very shocking. I really thought that I was very aware about what was going on in our world, and each time I saw a new, deeper, darker layer, if you will, that was exposed, and then an even deeper and darker layer has come up. So it feels to me as if I've been emotionally shocked and bombarded by all of the new information that's been coming up for me. And that's caused me to do more research and to dive more deeply to find out the truth for me about what's been going on. And what I see happening in the world is that many, many people are waking up as well. And people are waking up in all different ways and at all different levels. So if you've never considered that you're living in a control matrix, or you've never thought about energy, you're going to have a different awakening to people who are very rooted in working in higher dimensions, for example. So everyone's waking up in different ways and at different levels. But what I'm seeing is that for most people, things are being revealed to them that they had not before considered. And it's quite shocking. And it's really important here, and I'm going to say one other thing before I carry on, about sovereignty. It's really important here when you're being bombarded with information and you don't know what information is true and whether the source of the information that you're receiving is true or not. And this is where sovereignty really comes in. We've really got to be able to be discerning about the information we're receiving, tap into our beingness and our physical bodies and feel what is truthful for you and what is not. This is really, really important, because if you understand the nature of reality, you will know that we are literally creating new realities in every now moments, and all of those realities are being created by our perspectives. And if we can sink into our own sovereign understanding and our own sovereign awareness, those perspectives will be right for us. They will create realities that are true for us and true for our nature. So I'm inviting you, if you're in the middle of an awakening process, which you probably are, and if you're having shocking information coming to you, which you probably are, to feel your way through it as a sentient being, as the sentient being that you are. Obviously, it's important to use your mental faculties as well, but you are primarily energy. You are 97% energy, and you need to be able to feel energetically what information is doing for you, whether it's true or not, whether it's serving you or not, and what you should do with this information, what you should unfold into with this information from a place of sovereignty. So that's my sovereignty thing that I just wanted to share. And now I'm going to talk about spiritual bypassing. So obviously, if you're watching this video, you're aware that we are ascending into fifth dimensional consciousness, and that many of us on the planet are co-creating new Earth, a heaven on earth timeline in which we ascend in our consciousness. And everything to do with this fifth dimensional ascension is about unity consciousness. It's about the union of the divine masculine, the divine feminine, with us as the holy divine child. And we are a collective. Human beings are a collective, and we're a collective with all the creatures on planet Earth and Mother Earth herself. And as we ascend, we are going to come into this awareness that we are all one. We still have our individuality, but we are all one. And so it's very important, if we're co-creating a new Earth timeline, to be able to visualize and manifest that new Earth timeline from within our heart centers, in light and in love, okay? But there are many people on the planet right now, and this is not a judgment, this is just an offering of understanding, who believe that they should not look at the darkness and the evil, if you like, or the control matrix, or parts of what's being revealed right now. That they should not focus their energies or their time or their attention on that, because we should only go into love and light and creating the new Earth timeline. And this is what I would call, and many people would call, spiritual bypassing. It's not that it doesn't have its place. It does. We do need to hold in our heart centers. We do need to be compassionate and kind and inject light wherever we can from the truth of our compassion as human beings. We absolutely must do that. We absolutely must spend time focusing, giving our attention and creating the new heaven on earth timeline. Absolutely, we must do that. But there's a balance. We can't just love and light it without understanding that all of the darkness, the fear control matrix that is being revealed to us right now, we have to understand that we, all of us, are responsible for creating that. In fact, we called it in so that we could learn from it. If we're going to ascend in unity consciousness, we must take responsibility for all of it, including the things that are scary or ugly. And obviously what's coming to the fore at the moment is a lot of ugliness and a lot of fear. And so this is where I feel we can really make the most difference. I think we need to learn as a collective how to integrate difficult emotions and fear so that we can face it head on and transmute it into something that's going to serve us better. And so I'm going to take an example. So we're looking at, let's say we're going to look at forced mass vaccinations. Okay, pretty scary stuff. It's a control that is being, if you like, perpetrated through a fake fear illusion. Okay, people will only want to have forced vaccinations if they are so petrified that they're going to die or they're going to kill someone else if they don't have a vaccine. And think about all of the things that a forced vaccination implies. It implies that we don't know how to heal ourselves. It implies that we don't know how to look after our own immune systems. It implies that others outside of us know better how we should be managed. It implies that it's okay to put an alien substance in our bodies without the consent of many. It implies force. It implies so many things that are in opposition to the truth of who we are, which is unconditional love. However, the idea or the fact that forced vaccinations are raising, if you like, their ugly head right now, the fact that we are seeing potentially on the horizon an infringement on our free will sovereign choices, if you don't want to be vaccinated, our free will sovereign choices, the fact that we are seeing people who are demanding to be forcibly vaccinated, if you will, we cannot look at this as if there's an us and them element. We are not victims of the potential of forced vaccinations. We've created that from the fear within us, because everything you think and feel creates your reality. And you're creating as an individual sovereign being, and you're also creating collectively. We're all creating this together. And so vaccinations is one example of what's raising itself to show us what we've created. And it's showing itself to make us feel uncomfortable, and it's showing itself to show us how fearful we've become that something like that could raise its ugly head, if you like, and reveal itself to us. And this is just one thing that's being revealed to us at the moment. There are like a lot of scary things that are rising to show their faces to us. And we cannot spiritually bypass and say, oh, I'm not going to look at that because it's not pretty and it's not love and light and I'm going to go over here. Because what you're doing is you're bypassing yourself. You're bypassing the aspect of you, the fear, the control within you that you haven't looked at yet. And if you want to raise into fifth dimensional, heart-centered alignment, present moment, instant manifestation, unity consciousness, heaven on earth timeline, you can't take your fear with you. You can't take the fake control matrix with you. You can't take your victimhood with you. It has no place in fifth dimensional consciousness. You just can't do it. So in order to move into the fifth dimension, you've got to move there as a whole being, as an integrated being. So what we've got to do is we've got to look at our fear in the face. So in this case, as an example, we've got to look at the fact that we're crying out, even if it's not you personally, we as a collective are crying out for forced vaccinations. We're crying out for that as a collective. That's why it's showing itself, because we've been calling it in. It's a vibrational match to a vibration within us which is rooted in fear and victimhood and lack of sovereignty. So we've called this in. And so now, in order to integrate that emotion, in order to integrate the fear separate aspect of yourself that you have refused to look at because it was so painful and so ugly and so in opposition to your truth, we've got to now look at that, find it within our bodies, acknowledge that we created that, and then from a place of compassion and love, integrate it back into our beings. If you had a very scared child, you would not push it away and say, sorry, your fear is too ugly for me to look at. You would take that child and you would hug that child until it felt safe again. And this is what we have to do with all of those fear aspects of ourselves that we have been denying. This is why we're where we are now, because we have pushed away aspects of ourselves. We have controlled ourselves and made ourselves separate from source and from the truth of who we are. And we're not going to find that truth and that wholeness by spiritual bypassing and just saying, I can't look at that, I'm going into love and light. So there's a real balance here where we have to hold the love and light, absolutely, in the New Earth timeline, but we have to integrate those darker, painful, fearful aspects of ourselves that we have been ignoring. It's absolutely imperative that we integrate those aspects. And that's why it's so bloody difficult what's going on now. Literally, what's happening to me personally and to people that I see around is fear is rising. It's absolutely terrifying. And myself and other people I work with are having to look our fear in the face, find it within us, integrate it, and then come back into wholeness. And I'm telling you, it's bloody painful. It's really hard work. It hurts physically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually, and energetically to admit to ourselves what we've been doing to ourselves. It's a really, really, really difficult and painful process. However, we've got to do it. There's just no other way. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to share with you a couple of techniques how we can do integration of the aspects of ourselves that we have effectively placed in separation, and so that we can come into more wholeness. And what I will tell you, which is on the good side, aside from the fact it's just so painful and difficult to do, is that we seem to be integrating really quickly. So what's happening to me personally is something will rise, a fear aspect, and I'll just look at it and freak out. Then I'll find it within me. It will hurt and it will be painful, and then it will clear generally within 24 or 48 hours. Then I get a bit of a pause and then the next one comes up. So what I will say to you is that the integration seems to be faster. But with that speed is also the pain of the integration seems to be very magnified as well. I can tell you, I have never been in more physical, no, that's exaggeration. I've been in a lot of physical pain in the last few weeks, because every time a fear rises, I'm feeling it in my body. I'm feeling it where I haven't allowed myself to feel what's actually really going on with me. So I'm processing a lot of pain. But it's a really beautiful process, because as we process each piece of separation that we've created, we come more into wholeness. And then we can hollow out, we're removing all of those blocks, and the truth of who we are, source consciousness, can really begin to flow through us, that divine truth that we are, in fact, unconditional love. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to take you through a technique where you're going to be able to integrate a memory and clear it. And then what we're going to do in the next video is I'm going to give you the opportunity to integrate a difficult emotion. Okay? And my group were amazing. So many of them have had profound revelatory experiences where they've been able to come back into wholeness. Now, before I share these techniques with you, I really want you to understand, I'm going to say this again, this is not easy work. You need to make sure that you are being held energetically before you start this work. Now, when I did these meditations with my class, we've already been practicing creating an energetic architecture that will hold us as we do the work. So I really want you to make sure that you are grounded and rooted before you do any of this work. And if you can, and I'm going to put a thing up here so you can go and have a look, I want you to really understand the technique of connecting to the earth and stellar stars, which is our first father and our first mother, and the energetic present moment form of the octahedron, because these two techniques create an energetic architecture around us. And I talk about them, I take you through it in the meditation, but not in detail, which is why I want you to know what these techniques are and be practiced in them before you try integrating emotions. And it is so worth doing, because once you know how to integrate emotions, you'll be away. You'll just know what you're doing and you'll be able to clear yourself really easily and quickly. But I really recommend setting yourself up in the energetic architecture of the earth and stellar stars and the present moment octahedron first, because it's what I've been using with my class, and it really holds us in a safe space as we integrate, you know, painful emotions or painful memories. And this is important. The reason you've pushed down and separated yourself from these painful memories or aspects of yourself or beliefs or conditions, whatever you want to, however you want to perceive them, is because they're frightening and they hurt and they were so awful you didn't want to look at them. And it's easier and better for you if you can integrate them from a place of feeling very safe and very held. So I'm really encouraging you to understand those two practices before you do either of these integration meditations. Be the sovereign being that you are. Know if you need to be held. Do the practices and then start the deep transformative work. So the way that, sorry, I had a fly on my head. The way that we're going to do this practice is going to relax you, bring you to your breath. I'm going to connect you to the earth and stellar stars, put you in the energetic form of the octahedron. You need to know what those are because I'm going to take you through that part quite quickly. Then what I'm going to get you to do is to tap into a memory. And then I'm going to get you to feel where you're holding that memory in your physical body. You're a third dimensional being at this point, and this is where we need to integrate our emotions and allow them to be what they are. So I'm going to get you to feel this memory, and then I'm going to take you deeper and deeper and deeper into the memory. And as you go deeper into the memory, what's going to happen is aspects of that memory are going to reveal themselves to you, probably in layers. So it might be that you've got a memory and then you go under one aspect and actually it's bringing up loneliness. And if you go deeper, it's bringing up anger. And if you go deeper still, it's bringing up abandonment or something like that. And you might get colors or textures. And what we're trying to get to is we're kind of trying to get to the raw data of what that memory that you've held is hiding. We're trying to get to the raw data that doesn't want to reveal itself, but which is nevertheless affecting you in your day-to-day life. So if the raw data is that you're massively angry because your voice has never been heard, that's the data you're trying to get to, because that's the data that is affecting everything that's happening to you in your day-to-day level. So I'm going to take you down, down, down. We're going to get to the raw data of it. And then what we're going to do is we're going to bring our awareness to our heart centers. And we're going to begin to breathe the breath of light and love into our heart centers to activate our heart centers. And once that's really activated, we're going to take that raw data, which is somewhere in your body, and it could be in an organ, it could be in a cell, it could be in a system of your body, it might be in a shoulder, earlobe, who knows? We hold things within us in very bizarre places sometimes. So you're going to take that raw data and you're going to bring it towards your heart center and place the data in your heart center for your heart center to transmute it. And as we breathe with that light of love, we're going to feel the different flavors of love that we have available to us. So for example, compassion is a flavor of love. Joy is a flavor of love. Acceptance is a flavor of love. Gratitude, things like that. Flavors of love, kindness, you know. And so we're going to allow that raw data to be affected by the flavor of love. And I will have asked you to do a memory, but it might also be, you can also choose a good memory if you want. And there'll be a reason also, and this is really interesting, why you would hold a good memory within you. Don't forget, if you're holding a memory, you're holding an aspect of your past, and you're allowing the past to dictate your every now moment, which is really interesting. So sometimes when we hold good memories, it's because we're attached to things in our past, and then we're wanting every now moment to be a repetition of that. And we're not really allowing ourselves to be the free and unencumbered beings that we truthfully are. So you can pick a good memory if you want to as well. And it's equally as productive to let go of things that you're attached to in that sense also, because you're allowing things to define who you are, and you're limiting yourself. You're limiting yourself by the conditions and moments of your past. So most people will choose a difficult memory, but if you want to try happy memory, try that. It's an interesting process. So that's the first meditation, and then we're going to go on to the second meditation, which I'll release as a second video, give you a bit of time to work with this one. And in this one, we're going to get you to tap, we're going to do the whole same thing again, but we're going to tap into emotion, into an emotion which is coming up for you at the moment, okay? So one of my emotions that's coming up for me at the moment is despair and helplessness, because, you know, I have this... I don't want to be controlled by anyone, and I'm scared because my children are going out in the world and there's all this control matrix stuff coming up to show itself. So I'm really tapping into my despair and my helplessness and control and where that is in my body and everything. So you're picking an emotion that's coming up for you now, and the world being the state it is, it should be easy for you to find something that you need to work with. So you're going to go into your body again and find that emotion. And again, I'm going to take you deeper and deeper and deeper into that emotion until you're at the raw layer of it. And then again, once we've found that raw layer, we're going to draw it into our heart center. And what I did a few nights ago was I've got this physical pain that I'm dealing with. It's just unbelievably painful. I've got pain in all of my legs and in the lower half of my spine. And what I did was I used this technique. I was actually lying down and I was in bed, and the pain was so bad that it was stopping me from sleeping. So I tapped into this technique, and I did it, I have to tell you, for about 2 hours. But it was the most extraordinary thing. And I'm going to explain to you what happened to me, and because I think it will assist you. So what happened to me was the pain was coming up. I was tapping into it, into my body, and then I was drawing it into my heart center to be transmuted. And then I would suddenly get relief from the pain. I was like, oh, thanks God. And then the next layer would come up even worse. It was so unbelievably painful. It took all of my willpower to sit in the middle of that pain. I have to tell you, it was just insanely painful. So then I would take the next layer and draw it into my heart. And I was doing this for about 2 hours. It was really, really intense. But what started happening at some point within that 2 hours was that my heart started doing the work on its own without my kind of mind having to force the thing in. And what happened was the heart became like this wormhole, this black hole vortex. And the thing is that all of your energy centers are portals. They are, in fact, wormholes. They're vortex that take you into other dimensions and places. They're quantum access points, if you will. And as I was working with my heart center, it just started taking on a life of its own. And I really saw the torus that was going around it. And the pull, the magnetic pull of my heart center was just pulling all this stuff off my body. And in the end, I sort of surrendered and trusted and let myself go into that vortex. And it was a really enlightening and interesting experience. And I cleared a lot of pain, and now I'm in a new level of pain that I'm dealing with. So the pain in my legs is pretty much all gone, and now I'm dealing with some pain in specific areas that I need to go and integrate. So for me, what's happening is that as I'm processing my emotional pains, I'm getting a lot of physical pain with it as well. And I think this is happening for lots of people because we are third dimensional beings. We've manifested into an embodied, physical, matter-based reality. And as we're ascending into fifth dimension, I've said this on other videos, we're taking our physical bodies with us. So this integration of emotions has to come on the physical level as well. We have to come into this wholeness and unity consciousness within our physical body. We have to integrate within the physical body and the emotional, mental and energetic and spiritual aspects of ourselves as well, so that we can move up into fifth dimensional awareness. So that's it. I'm going to remind you again, this is not a process for the faint-hearted, but it will serve you unbelievably greatly. If you have questions, please either post them in the comments so that we can all help each other by taking ourselves through the process. It's good for people to see the comments. Or I have set up a Facebook group called Sarita's Meditation Students or something. And you can share your experiences in there with other people who are all doing the same thing. And I think it's really important as a collective that we are holding ourselves and each other through this process. I am happy to answer emails, but I'm getting so many emails at the moment. It's really hard for me to keep up. And I think it serves the whole, the collective better if we can share visibly with one another. Obviously, if you need help with something that's really personal, then, and you don't want to share, obviously I'm here for you. But yeah, if we can share collectively, I think it really, we're all lifting each other up. So yes, hold the love and light. Do the difficult integration. We cannot just spiritually bypass. We have to integrate the truth of who we are. We called this stuff in. We need to give thanks to the horror or the perpetrators who are showing us the fear that we've all been carrying within us. We need to integrate it. We need to feel gratitude for it. We need to forgive it, sit with compassion in it, and allow it to take us into wholeness. So thank you very much for listening. The meditation's coming up now. As always, I would encourage you to sit up for a meditation if you can. Obviously, if you're constrained by injury, then lie down. And when you're ready, you're going to take a breath in, breath out, and close your eyes. Dropping into the darkness, coming into connection with your breath. Feeling that incredible tool, the breath, which is always available to us. So just checking in with yourself. What is the breath showing me about how I am in this moment? And what adjustments do I need to make to my breath to allow me to deepen into myself? Darkness, breath, attention. And connecting yourselves to the earth and stellar stars, and placing yourselves within that present moment, sovereign space of the octahedron. And as you feel this architecture around you, again, making any adjustments that will serve you better, mastering your present moment from a place of deep knowing and sovereignty. And we're just going to take a moment here and feel an inner smile within us. Allowing yourself to feel how good it is to become present. And let this little inner smile hold you and anchor you into the architecture. So that you feel balanced and safe before we begin some work on memory. And can you place that smile within your heart center? I like myself here. This is easy. This is simple. So feeling yourself within this architecture that is holding you, you are now going to allow a memory to arise. And as this memory arises, you are going to deepen into your body and find where you are holding this memory within your body. Letting the first memory that comes be the one that takes you into your body. And it might be that the memory you are holding is in an organ or a limb or a system, or perhaps just a single cell within your body. You're letting the memory come up with all the vision and feeling around it, and finding where you are storing this memory within you. And as you find the place where it is stored, deepening your awareness into this place this space within you, and allowing the memory to come up in all of its detail. Can you access this memory through your 5 senses? What can you hear or see or smell or touch or taste about this memory? What emotions does it bring? What thoughts or words arise with it? Giving yourself permission to feel it within you in all of its detail. What physical sensations are associated with this memory? What are you holding within this place, within your body? And can you allow yourself to feel the dominant, raw data that this memory left in your body, that you're holding there? Perhaps it's an emotion or a physical pain or a pattern or a belief about yourself. What is the dominant sensation or thing you are holding within you? And as you feel this raw data, can you allow the memory itself that left you with this data to begin to easily disappear and dissipate like mist or a cloud that dissolves? So that you are just left with this sensation within you, this emotion or feeling or physical manifestation. And just notice if it has color or texture or density or motion. Notice what size it is. Notice how you're holding it. And we are now going to begin the process of reintegrating this raw data into our heart center to bring us more wholeness. So keeping a light awareness of this sensation within you, you are going to bring the other part of your awareness to your heart center. And you are going to begin to breathe into your heart center with the breath and light of love. Breathing into your heart and filling it with love, with light. Activating your heart center. Opening it. Making it more and more luminous. Feel how your heart center is filled with love. Feel the different flavors of the love in your heart center. Kindness, compassion, peace, joy, gratitude. Feel all the flavors of love within your heart center. And you are now going to draw this raw data that a memory left, which rests in one place in your body, or perhaps more than one place. You are going to draw this sensation or emotion or belief or pattern towards your heart center, towards the light, the flavors of love that you have within you. So feel this data coming closer and closer to the heart center. Closer and closer. And landing at the center of your heart center. And as it lands there, you are breathing into the heart center and into this sensation, this data, the light of your love. Breathing in compassion into it. Gratitude into it. Kindness into it. Joy into it. And any other flavors of love that this data needs to reintegrate back to your heart. And feel what happens in your body as this data is accepted and integrated by your heart. How does your body feel now? How does the data feel now? And how does your heart center feel now?